Hello, I'm VXSoyCat and welcome back to the video. So one of the things most people notice when they first see me playing Minecraft is that I often go for very different projects than most people focus on. So when most people are trying to build their giant mansions and making the most luxurious Minecraft house, my thing that I prefer to do instead is to shape the Minecraft environment in weird ways that I kind of want to do. So one of the things that a lot of people notice is the destruction project. You know, in my Let's Play I'm always destroying things, and in today's video I figured why not show off 5 destruction projects to show you why I enjoy making them so much, to show you how bizarre they kind of look, and also maybe to inspire you if you want to do something a little different in your own Minecraft world. So hopefully you do enjoy this video. You can like it if you do like it, because it helps out the channel out and lets me know you do like this sort of top 5 video. But with that said, let's get straight into the 5th, kind of big destruction project, which I have been working on, which you're seeing a little bit off right here, because this is the furthest north point, because it kind of went into a ravine and like it was filled with lava, so I've been slowly removing the lava. But yeah, I have this giant flat area, which goes all the way from here, literally 1,000 and a bit blocks south, and then 1,000 blocks east, 1,000 blocks west, and it is a giant tunnel underground. So just the tunnel underground isn't too interesting, but what I decided to do between those points, because I had this big cross anyway, is to slowly try and expand it and just make a giant area underground where you could see as far as, you know, like the render distance could see, so you wouldn't be able to see the end of it. And although this is like in, I guess, early enough phases, the number of blocks I've destroyed here is in the tens of thousands, because obviously destroying an area like this gets pretty tricky. And yeah, the end result of it is a fascinating project where I get a bunch of diamonds, so diamonds are always nice. I get a bunch of all the other ores you need. Iron comes up a lot, coal comes up a lot. I get all the ores and stuff and XP that I ever could want, but also I get to play around with some other interesting facts. So yeah, for instance, this torch pattern right here, you might think like, why are there so few torches? Aren't zombies going to spawn? And the truth is they only spawn whenever it, you know, comes to an area where they're not properly torched. But if you actually look at these torches, they're perfectly placed, so the minimum number of them are used to make this whole place light up. It's actually kind of fascinating to look at, and it means that you get this very cavey feeling, even for a place that, you know, is perfectly lit. And yeah, I really love looking around this place because it's so deep, and the goal is to make it so, like how when you look down the end of that tunnel, again, it's hundreds of blocks, just under 1,000 blocks wide, you can actually see how, like, oh yeah, so there's like roughly 1,000 blocks going that way, but you can't see the end, you just see the edge of the render distance. And I think it'd be kind of cool if every direction had that exact same thing, so you could look around and it would look like nothing but the edge of the render distance. That's the goal, and it's being slowly happened, and that's where I get all my diamonds from, in case you're curious. And it's also the first destruction project. And the cool thing about underground, you know, mine is like it's everyone's first destruction project in a way, because everyone has to get diamonds, everyone has to get iron. Like, you have to go underground and you have to, you know, destroy, in big air quotes, the blocks, because the truth is you need these ores to make your Minecraft world work. And that's why I like it as like it's like a good starter destruction project. Why not just like destroy a big area so you have something interesting to look at that also gets you something functional. The second build is like a similar idea, like it was meant to be something functional actually for building, because again, I do like building some stuff. I have like the giant sugarcane farm, I have like, you know, the castle on the hill. I could talk about the sugarcane farm for days sometime, but no, let's talk about the big flatland that it's built next to it right here. So as you can see, it's like a big jungly plain right now. It's really bright and green, but the truth is this giant plains was an area that started as just a swamp biome. It was a swamp biome, and I was like, this is an ugly swamp biome, let's flatten it a little bit, so if I want to build something there to replace it, I would be able to. So I did that, and it looked kind of nice, but then I figured, why not fill in the gaps? And I started slowly filling in the gaps and expanding and flattening and filling in the gaps and covering up ocean, and I did that more and more and more until I ended up with something which looks exactly like this. So yeah, it's very fascinating to look at, again, in my opinion, because it's this giant area that most people look at and say, no way, that's legit. So you have a flatland world where you just place trees on top of it, but no, this flatland is something I flattened by hand. I had to flatten a mountain, as you can see right here. This mountain was giant before. I flattened it pretty much as I could into like a big circle right here, from being all the way out to there, like tens of blocks that way. I had to flatten this giant hill over here, which again went way further this way, but I flattened it, I made it a big thing, and I ended up with this big, pretty much rectangular, I mean, it's not perfectly because of the mountain and stuff, but I have this big rectangular area where I could build anything I want on. But the truth is I found it more useful not to build stuff on, but to leave it dark, because when night comes, as it's going to come right now, you're going to see how it's going to cover with you know, mobs of some variety, which means if you want to find a bunch of creepers, you want to find a bunch of skeletons, you want to find a bunch of any mob which won't naturally spawn from a spawner. I mean, skeletons you'll get from there, but creepers you won't, for instance, or like witches or endermen, you'll be able to find a bunch of them here because it's so dark and it's so flat, you can see everything. So yeah, I find that quite useful. It's also useful in the daytime for finding, like, sometimes at least, cows, pigs, you know, wolves, chickens, all the sorts of mobs you'll find in the daytime, which makes this a great area for mobs. So yeah, the flatland started as a project for building, turned into a project of destruction, and then turned into this really useful thing. So yeah, let's go back to sleep, and let's show you, you know, the fact that, you know, this is a pretty good one. It works as a basis for building, and I think this is a good one to kind of test the waters with. Why not just flatten some ground? Because to me, one of the very first things I did in Minecraft, like back in TU1, because this world is very old, by the way, but back in Title Update 1, the first thing I did was like flatten this big area so I could, you know, work on it. Like I spent a whole night doing that one day, and it was a pretty fun little thing. So moving on to the third build, which, or the third destruction project, I should say. I mean, all Minecraft projects are builds in their own way, but this is a destruction project, and yeah, if we actually activate our fly, and go this way, let me tell you the story of why I had to do this. Because if you look around the world, like with the big, weird, jungly plain, even though it was a swamp before, my world started in TU5, and back then, when an update came out of brand new biomes, they had to shift all the existing biomes, because biomes were based on the seed and not the world save, which sounds really bizarre, but again, there weren't enough biomes back then for people to really care. So like, oh yeah, sometimes your swamp might become an extreme hill. Sometimes your extreme hill, like I have here, might become a swamp, or sometimes your desert might become something else entirely. I'm not sure what it is right now. I believe it's just like a, you know, it's a plains biome or something underneath, but my desert, as you can see right here, stopped being a desert and stopped stopping the rain. The big thing I like about deserts is that if it rains, it doesn't rain here, but this isn't true in my, you know, quote-unquote desert, so what I did is I destroyed the thing. And although it's not 100% destroyed yet, it's one of the big projects I have been undertaking. You can see how this thing just looks insane to look at, because it's covered in torches, because to get rid of sand, by the way, the best way that I'd recommend is to place torches underneath them, something like this. So we destroy the sand, we place a torch, and then we end up with some sand in return. And every single time I did that, I didn't take the torch back, and I left it there instead, because it's kind of a monument to how much I've been placing torches all over the place, how much progress I've had to make. But I really like looking at this, because it shows that you can destroy an entire biome if you want to. What really is a biome, besides the blocks that make it? And if the biome itself goes away, then this literally is just a big pile of sand I've been removing bit by bit by bit. And because of all of this, I have so much, like, just for this video, I was destroying some sand. I have so much sand lying around that now I can do any drainage project I want to. I drain my, you know, I drained the ocean monument, I drained this, despite that, I still have so much sand, more than I could ever spare to do anything with. So yeah, I have this giant amount of just like every, you know, like sand related block, and because of that, I figured like, let's take the sand, let's put it in chests, but then let's also use it to build some like monuments to make this kind of like an ironic desert biome, because it's not actually a desert biome, and soon it won't even look like one. But I figured, why not build a desert temple, a desert like, you know, maze, a giant cacti farm. I built all these things here to kind of make the destruction seem worthwhile, and I really love it personally, and it's one of my favorite destruction projects. So yeah, that's that right here, but it's not quite number two or number one, is it? Because these go to another project you might remember a while ago. This is one I know has inspired a lot of people, so maybe it does for you too, or maybe you look at this and you just say, Toycat, you mad person, what are you even doing? Because just behind my house right here, so this is my spawn area, this is my primary house, my fireworks, but just behind those and behind the destroyed forest I have here, I have this big chunk in the ground, which I took from scratch and destroyed. That's right, this was an entire chunk before, but now it is just, you know, like some bedrock layers and some stone, stuff like that. I made it the lowest level I could make, and yeah, it was fascinating to destroy this thing. I took every block I mined and I put it in a chest, so I got this much dirt, this much cobblestone in case you're curious, that many different ores, which I probably could like smelt up about now, but I got this many ores from destroying the thing, plus all of this and all of this and all of this, and I think you get the point. Basically, you get a lot of cobblestone, and although cobblestone doesn't seem so useful, you can use it to do some pretty big, pretty epic stuff. And even if you don't care about the cobblestone, it's really satisfying to see like normal landscape, then destroyed chunk. It looks like a glitch has occurred here, but nope, this is just me doing this entirely. And I've even decided to extend this as much across my Minecraft world as I can, because I have this big, like, it's basically a ravine, but it's man-made, going 2 blocks wide all along my Minecraft classic size world, to kind of keep the old world out in a way, but like just a big trench. It looks like the world's been separated in two, and it kind of has, and again, it's fascinating to see, and maybe this is the sort of thing that you prefer instead. Like, instead of just a giant destroyed chunk, because it looks like a glitch, why not instead go for something like this? So I almost died a little bit there, but that's fine. Oh, by the way, point of cobblestone, here's a couple of uses for it. 1, I wrote my name in letters, so it shows up on a map. And 2, I built a giant cobblestone wall all around the world, because, again, you gotta keep the new world out. You're gonna build a wall, and you make Minecraft great again. That's what you can do if you have enough cobblestone, because all you need for cobblestone walls is 6 cobblestone, at least last time I made them, you did. And that's a pretty useful little thing to know, that you can make all the walls you want, and you can make your Minecraft world as great as you want, and all you need to do that is, all you need to do that is a bunch of cobblestone, which you can get pretty easily, as it so turns out. So let's fly this way. You might be curious as to why we're flying so far away from the rest of this, and some of you who have been watching the streams recently know exactly what's going on. So this is recorded before it was 100% finished. I'm finishing it later today, and this video goes up a little bit later than that. So obviously, I'm sorry this is a few days old. You might have seen the finished destroyed thing, but even where it is right now, to me, is just like, I really love this, because I had a woodland mansion in this world. I went there because I wanted to get a totem of undying, and it succeeded. I got the totem, it was all good. I got some enchantments, I got a diamond hoe too, because those are useful, right? I got all this stuff from my, thing, and what I've ended up with instead once I destroyed it, I was kind of upset that, like, one of the evokers killed me at one point, so I figured, as revenge, the only logical thing to do was to destroy his entire home. So what I have right here is the biggest recycling project I've ever embarked upon, perhaps anyone's ever embarked upon, or that anyone can embark upon, because I have recycled an entire woodland mansion, or I'm recycling it. Like, again, you can see the very edge of the outside structure. I took the entirety of the inside, destroyed every room by hand. I destroyed everything on the outside besides, as you can see, just the walls, and only some of the walls remain. And what I've left with is just this crazy shell of a woodland mansion. It's not really even a woodland mansion, right? It's just like, oh yeah, so there's just nothing here left but like a little bit of the thing. And soon when this is gone, all there will be left is just chests filled with what used to be this, and I'm going to rebuild it into my own thing. I'm going to take the woodland mansion, I've destroyed it, I've turned it into nothing, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to, like, again, I'm going to have my own version of the woodland mansion, but it's going to be like a woodland tower or a woodland bridge or something else. I'm going to use all of these resources, because even now, before I finish the last bit, which will probably be another few chests worth, here's all the resources I have. So as you can see, I've got a chest full of wood, oh, that's empty chest. I've got a chest full of cobblestone products, a chest full of more cobblestone plus wool. I've got chest full of just birch planks, chest full of miscellaneous birch planks, dark oak planks, weird miscellaneous stuff, more dark oak, more dark oak, more dark oak, more dark oak, and more dark oak. This is how much dark oak you get when you destroy an entire woodland mansion, and I figured, because this thing is so big and so insane, I just had to show it off, and maybe this inspires you to do the same thing. Like, I wouldn't recommend starting this big, like destroy a village or destroy like a desert temple or something, but the idea of destroying something in Minecraft, it seems weird on the surface, but there's something so satisfying about it, and that's why I've spent, like, I think it's 14 hours now destroying this thing, because it's just worth the time, and I have a lot of fun doing it, and hopefully you have a lot of fun, or had a lot of fun watching it, but also have a lot of fun doing it yourself as well. So thank you very much for watching today's video. Hopefully this video did inspire you. You'd like it if you did, and let me know in the comments down below if you're going to do one of these. I enjoy learning that, like, oh yeah, so someone decided to do this just because they watched this video. Share the video if you really liked it, subscribe if you're around here, and I guess I'll see you all in the next video. Have a nice day, everyone. Goodbye.